You're a driver. You're clearly joining us from your vehicle today. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just been delivering this morning.
So if you could start by maybe just giving us a little virtual tour of the inside of your car back and see what looks like a little sleeping compartment above it. Is that right?
Yeah, it is actually. This is a sleeper cab, so it has got a bed in for the lads who want
Right.
to do nights out, want to sleep in the cab. But apart from that, it's pretty simple. There's steering wheel here. There's your
Yeah.
gears, obviously, drive, neutral, reverse, your park and brake.
Yeah.
Your different lights and stuff are down here. Obviously, your
Uh-huh.
indicator, and this is what we call a tachograph machine up here. This records
Right.
all your driving during the day and whatnot. And when
Okay.
you on break and stuff, because obviously you're regulated by driving hours and working times and stuff like that. So this keeps a track of what you're doing. If you get
Right.
pulled up by DVSC, you can have a look at that and see what you've done that day.
Okay.
So,
And where are you today? I'm just looking out of the window. Whereabouts have you parked
yeah.
up?
I'm parked up in the Team Valley at the moment. I've been delivering in Gateshead, so this is the best place to park, I think.
Okay, champion. Can you do me a favor, please, and pop your video back on your face so we can
Yeah.
see it? Thanks for that. So, Alex, a few questions from us. The first one, tell us what your job is. What's your job title, but also what do you do on a normal day? What does that look like?
I'm HGV driver at Moody's, driving curtain-sided vehicles. I've just from the northeast area doing pallet network for Palex work or on haulage throughout the rest of the UK. On a normal day, just if I'm doing local work, I would come into work, I'd get my truck keys. And first of all, the first thing you've got to do is make sure your truck's actually legal to be on the road, making sure it's roadworthy. You can start off making sure there's no oil leaking from the truck, making sure your tyres are intact, there's no bulges on there, making sure there's no damage to the body of your vehicle, making sure all your lights are working and stuff, your engine's running okay, all your controls are working and stuff. That's the most important thing to begin with.
So that's
After,
before you even leave. That's before you even get out on
yeah,
the road.
that's the first thing you should do when you start in the morning. Make sure that your wagon's legal to be on the road.
Hmm. And then
Uh-huh.
after that, so you've done that first check?
After that, when we're on local work, we load up in the mornings. We load up in the yard ourselves. So we'd actually drive the forklift ourselves. We got a run sheet off the lad in the office. We get the forklifts and we actually load ourselves up. So we pull the curtains back, load ourselves up in the order that we're going to be delivering in. And once you've loaded up, obviously you've got to make sure you load secure. So you use all your straps and your internal straps. You can also use their ratchet straps if there was anything heavy on there, but making sure it's all secure. Nothing's going to move anywhere once you've left the yard.
How long does all of that take you? So, from my ignorant assumption and lack of knowledge of what actually goes on behind the scenes to get a truck on the road, I just click from Amazon or wherever, and the next thing I know, it comes to my front door.
Yeah.
So you've got to work, you've done all the security checks in terms of the vehicle. You've then had to, obviously get your run sheet of where you're going and what's going on the truck that day. You're loading that up yourself, and then there's just so much before you even actually leave the yard and drive it. So how long did those first checks take you?
It's 15 minutes in the morning. You need to show 15 minutes of our work on your tachograph. That'll go out of our work while you're doing your checks and you're walking around. So I need to at
Right.
least have 15 minutes doing your checks in the morning. And
Okay.
after that loading up, it can take a while. It can take up to an hour. If you've got a bigger
Hmm.
vehicle, if you're in like an articulated vehicle, which is longer, it's 45 foot. That could take you longer because obviously you're going to get more pallets on there. It all just depends. But obviously, quite a lot of your time is actually spent doing other work and not just driving. So
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, sounds like it. So you loaded up, you've done all your checks, you're secure, and you're ready to go. And then what happens? What does the rest of your day look like?
you go out and start doing your deliveries. Hopefully, it all goes well. Some places you can get held up. You get every delivery is different when you're on local deliveries. This morning I done a delivery at the council depot in Gateshead. So obviously the forklift driver took it off us straight away. And my next delivery was a pack of tiles for a housing house address. So obviously that
Hmm.
was a bit different. There's we playing musical cars at one point. There's people trying to get past and stuff, and all the deliveries are different and stuff. But you just got to try and get them off as quick and as safely as you can.
Hmm.
Obviously the deliveries that don't have a forklift, you use your tail lift. So if this vehicle's fitted with like an electric tail lift, which comes
Right.
down, take your pallet truck to lift your pallet up, put it
Yeah.
onto your tail lift and lower yourself down, and you can get it as close to the house as possible.
Hmm.
So over deliveries and stuff are different. Once you've done your deliveries, obviously you can have your break and stuff, and you can start doing collections as well. We bring stuff back to our yard to be sent out elsewhere. So I start doing the collections too.
Okay. So you've done your collections and then what, you head back to the yard?
Yeah. Well, what we'll do is we'll head back to the yard. We'll pull in the warehouse and we'll actually unload ourselves as well. So we'll pull the curtains back and unload ourselves. And there's certain forklift drivers who load the night trunks up,
Right.
which our collections would go onto and get sent down to a hub in Leicester on night shift, and that will get distributed around the rest of the country. So if an engineering company in the Team Valley had a delivery for somewhere down Oxford, they can send it through Palex. So we can come and pick it up, take it back to our yard, then send it down to Leicester, when another company who would be from like Oxford area could go into Palex, pick up that pallet and take it back to their depot to deliver down there the next day.
So there's a lot of partnership work there needed. Sorry, that's my dog. You can guarantee that someone always knocks on the door when I'm in the middle of an event. Never happens any other time. Um, but there's a lot of like collaboration and partnerships there because again, I wouldn't have even thought about the fact that you might collect something to hand over to another, like another haulage company, but clearly that's a big part of the job.
Yeah. You loads of obviously meet loads of different people, loads of different places every day. So that's quite interesting and stuff.
So tell me, obviously you've been with Moody for I think about 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
Before that, because you're quite young, certainly
Uh-huh.
compared to where I'm sitting, tell me about your decisions. Why driving? What happened at school? Were you thinking, right, okay, I'm 16 now, I want to be a driver, that's what I always wanted to do? Or what did that look like? What were your choices along the way?
Well, I didn't really like sitting in lessons at school, sitting in maths and stuff like that. I always like doing PE and being out and about and stuff. So I always thought I was going to do something sort of manual, not sitting in an office. So I left school and got a job just sort of labouring in an engineering company, just using different tools and stuff. Stuff like a drill and a lathe and stuff, and just learning how to use tools and stuff, just like a local job. And I actually went on to do groundworks. I worked for like a civil engineering company for a couple of years, doing groundworks, concreting, and drainage and stuff. But they were just jobs. I've never really enjoyed doing them. I just done them because you had to have a job kind of thing. And
Yeah.
back in my mind, I always sort of wanted to be a truck driver. I really enjoyed driving my car. I passed my test when I was 17. And
Mm.
I always looked at the wagons on the road and stuff. I thought, oh, I'd love to drive one of them, but I never really knew how to go about it.
What is it that you thought would be really good about it? So if you're looking at,
Just
trucks on the road and think, I'd love to drive, what is it about it that you thought you'd love it?
just being out and about and seeing different places every day instead of being stuck in one place or stuck on one site all day. You can go loads of different places in one day. You see different
Hmm.
parts of the country and different parts of the northeast.
Yeah, fantastic. So you'd had that, passion. I don't know if that's maybe too strong a word, or you definitely had that sort of inkling that actually I'd
Oh
really like to
yeah.
do that. So how did you go from being employed in what you consider just a job, which is still fine, but from a job to, a career?
Well, I seen an advert at Moody's, which was warehouse. It was warehouse to wheels job. It was come in and drive a forklift. And luckily, I already had my forklift license, so you come in, drive a forklift, for a few months, and you'll be able to get put through your HGV class 2, which is any rigid vehicle up to 32 ton. So I came in as a forklift driver and drove a forklift for a while and ended up getting me class 2, but then ended up getting me class 1, which is articulated vehicles up to 44 ton.
Hmm.
So it's worked out great. But
So is that
obviously,
considered, sorry, Alex, is that considered an apprenticeship role that you went
yeah,
into, or was it just how
yeah,
did that?
it was an apprenticeship with Gateside College at Tyneside Training Services, done the training, the truck training and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, put us through a forklift refresher course as well because that was due. So you get like a obviously reminder on how to drive a forklift
Yeah.
safely and stuff like that. But yeah, it's worked out great. Obviously, you've got to start at the bottom, driving a
Mhm.
forklift and stuff for a while. in the warehouse loading other people up, but then eventually it's all worth it once you can drive the trucks, you can get out on the road. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And just to clarify for anybody watching that obviously you need these qualifications, so you need to have these licenses, you need to be qualified to safely drive because it's a huge responsibility if you're driving around a 40-ton truck on the road. Um, can you only do that through a company? So you had an apprenticeship and Moody put you through those qualifications. What other options are there or do you
Um,
have to go through a company?
no, you can't put yourself through your test. You would go to like a training company like Townside Training Services and you could pay for it yourself. But then once you've passed, you're not guaranteed a job anywhere. And I think it's quite hard when you're young for insurance purposes and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I think the apprenticeship was the best thing I've done.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like it. So with the apprenticeship scheme, you were already employed. You had all the qualifications which were put through by your employer, so you weren't incurring any personal costs. And you had
Yeah.
that support, I suppose, of people around you working in that job that you could maybe learn from.
It was a massive help actually working there before I became a driver because obviously I knew how things worked and how the
Yeah.
company like operated and stuff like that. So obviously I
Yeah.
knew what the drivers done and what their job was and stuff sort of before I started doing the job.
Hmm. Yeah, so it would have put you at an advantage instead of, I suppose, just going in, you've put yourself through those qualifications and then you go in and you start, but actually you don't know about the business, you don't know where the toilets are, you don't know where
Uh-huh.
anything is. So you had all of that already and you've got this like family environment around you to really support you through that and they've invested in you as a person as well as just giving you a job. I suppose it's a big deal for a company to say, look, we're going to pay for this. So it's good to hear you clearly appreciate and understand, the benefits that going into the job this way has given you as a person.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. As I say, I think it's the best thing I've done. If I
Hmm.
put myself through my license and stuff, I'm not sure it would be quite the same. I'm not sure if I would have gotten a job straight away, or
Mm.
definitely the best option.
For you at the time.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Just a few more things, and then if anybody's got any questions specifically for Alex, please pop them in the chat box, and we'll get them before he has to crack on with his day. Um, you said that previously in previous employment, they were just a job, but now you've found something that you clearly enjoy doing. Would you consider this a career now? Would you consider that this is the career for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't know what else I would be doing now. I quite enjoy this job, and I fancy in a few years' time being just an experienced truck driver. Uh-huh.
Great. And I was going to say, what's the best thing and the worst thing about your job? I mean, you said you enjoy it, so I guess that's one of the best things. But with a
Yeah.
little bit more detail around that, what would you say the best thing is?
The best thing is probably just being out and about and seeing different things every day. Like every day is sort of different. You get different deliveries and stuff and meeting different people. You're not just stuck in the same like factory all day, like 9 till 5. Like it's
Mm.
just being out and about and seeing different things, just and being outside.
Hmm. Great. And what about the worst thing? Because we know that there's always a worst thing.
You can't get like stressful days and stuff when you're like struggling for like time deliveries and stuff off. You've got like loads of loads of deliveries on and things aren't going to plan, and you might get like a private address to deliver to, and there'll be houses everywhere, and you're trying to get people to move cars and stuff, and you're going to get anywhere. And yeah, there is like pros and cons, but it's mostly all good.
Mostly all good. And when you're
Uh,
having a sort of a bad day, like you said, if you're delivering to one individual, like for example, if you're delivering something at my house, I know there's nowhere to park and I know it's a nightmare. And like yesterday I was asked to move my car for a truck. um, what is it about that you don't like or find stress? Do you find it stressful?
not too stressful when you don't have a great deal on. But if you're rushing and you've got a lot of jobs on, it can get stressful and stuff. Yeah, but it's mostly all right.
Mostly good. Okay, then. Well, I think we've maybe taken up enough of your time. Thank you so much for just sharing, your own experiences. And it's really good that you're joining us. You're like literally, you couldn't be more on the job than, where you're joining us from today. I bet you're probably getting a few strange looks of people going past in the car. Wondering what you're doing, showing everyone the inside of your truck. But that was great. Just thank you so much for sharing, Alex. We wish you all the best. We'd love to maybe have you on in a few years' time and see where you're at. You know, if you're still doing this, if you've climbed up the ladder, or if you're driving around Europe, or who knows, there's quite a lot of possibilities there for you. So thank you